Do not move. Do not move. Okay. Wow. So what's really great is this shadow from our angle here is absolutely perfect, right? It's very well defined and it's very sharp. But if you move this way, everything is relative in vantage point. I don't have a shadow at all. It's just disappeared. These are the kind of explorations that are so important. And now this one is very, very sharp. What Da Vinci said was there are two shadows. There's the primary shadow, which is the modeling, the shadow on the object. That is the primary shadow. The way we can tell, I see cheekbones here. That is the shadow under his cheeks, right? And the secondary shadow, that is the cast shadow. And I think that developing more language and more ways to describe shadows and light is also part of certainly my mission. And I think for all of us to explain light and shadow to our clients and to each other is very important. So we've got a backlit sign at Sainsbury. This is private lighting, nicely lit, angelic. Very, very impressed with that. All right, so whatever you think of, you know, fluorescent light over a sign, this works. We definitely can see it. The signals, exactly. I love the signals. I don't know in different countries how it's going with the replacement of signals with LED. Many cities have, and they are so bright that as they go along into infinity, they've created new patterns of light and color in the streets. I think it's really, really interesting. And then, of course, the markings, the black and white markings, tell us that it is a zebra crossing. So I think these are wonderful. And look, they're offset. Okay, let's pick up the pace a little. And I know you're all lighting designers, so you already see all this, but in case, the sodium, the white fluorescent, the blue neon up there, we see it here because the angle of incidence is equal to the angle of reflection is equal to the angle of incidence. So really, reflections can be surprising where they appear. And then we've got the angel wings. What was here before? You know, what did it feel like before? You know, and the cattle rumbling off to Smithfield to their death, and the people driving them there. And now, snap back. Here we are in a shopping center. And these sorts of things, I hope that lighting really can activate social spaces. Perhaps in more modern ways. Perhaps it's not shops and markets. Perhaps it's games. Perhaps it's spaces to read or to lecture or to have classes at night. I don't know. But having the light in the city would help us create, if it's very, how can I say, not just turned on, not just light that's on, but a programmed space. If we partner with educational institutions, with artists, with, you know, a market, then we can create a long-lasting social space with meaning. We always use retroreflective, 3M retroreflective materials, and just the headlights do that. But I've seen it anyway in the Angel. It's pervasive, these little bracket lights, which of course, you know, all of our industrial designers here are going, oh man, you know, can't it be backlit? You know, can't we do something better? But you know, you found I have a quirky opinion, but I think they're a little bit charming. You know, it's kind of like, what was the obvious thing to do? We need a sign that tells us to turn left. Let's light it. You know, it's a baby billboard. And so this is, one person's street clutter is another person's charm. So we're saving money by not using retroreflective. Okay, so this is like a painted or a, I don't know, does anyone know this is a sheet that's been laid on or something, right? And it's a film, graphic film, and it just works because of the contrast of color. It's not retroreflective. Does everyone know what retroreflective is? Basically, little beads of silicone that act as lenses, and they're dropped into, you know, we know them a lot from the stripes on the street. It works horizontally, they're optimized, and they're also optimized for vertically. So you've got your street signs, you can have your street signs out of that. And what's really amazing about retroreflective, it's not just reflective, this is just reflective. What's amazing about retroreflective is it's actually a lens that becomes a source back to your eye. That sign is really phenomenally bright. How is that picking up the light so well? Oh, it's a fluorescent under it. So it's actually pretty well hidden, isn't it? Yeah. I just didn't see it at all. I felt like the light was coming from the sign. It's fantastic. So that's beautiful.
Just because it's black as...
it matches into the other finishes, yeah. And then the cylinders are pretty nice. Up and down lights. And so it's a simple design with the menus lit up as well. And a nice kind of darkened place inside. I have to say it looks more seductive and more interesting than it did during the day. You know? Because I did go by here and it looked kind of ordinary. So the shadows are created by the grate, right? So it's one of those lucky coincidences because grates aren't a happy thing. Grates are here because we don't want theft. But on the other hand, this grate creates this wonderful little pattern. We haven't seen that many of these, actually, surprisingly. Usually on my light walks, I have lots of these. I think it may be in part because the ground is wet and it doesn't allow the shadows and things to really resolve that well. Kind of pushes things apart and turns things into a sheen rather than exact shadows. So this is a really nice effect. Now, do we know why it's so blue? Oh, it's neon. That's what that is. Wow, I was trying to figure out where's the fluorescent tube? Why does it look like that? So that's pretty cool. Really a kind of a magic theater, I think. Don't you? It's kind of, where's the man in the back room? And what is he doing? You know, it's like a little stage. I think it's great. It makes me want to come back. And here I love the fact that these poles, even though I think the lanterns are a lighting joke, the poles are right in the middle of the lane. And there must be some historic reason for that. I don't know what that is. And did you know that the sparkle effect is an actual scientific thing that studies have been done? At Lighting Research Institute in New York, they did a study on people's attention spans and staying awake. And what they found was that having a sparkly item, it was like a kind of an artwork, something really simple, but it had a sparkle effect. People stayed awake more, and they were more, they had a better attention span with their studies. And so I always think about that, like how could we use that sparkle effect in the public realm to kind of wake people up and to kind of keep their attention and to, you know, kind of this wake-up feeling, because really in a monochromatic world of sodium light, you know, road after road after road, you do tend to kind of want to go to sleep. So here we have, you know, the poor MR16, which is soon to die, and the objects that have a sheen to them and specular reflection, and we create some beautiful sparkle. Doesn't matter what the objects are, we don't love the objects. But the idea is that before, we had a line of light, and it created almost a soft array, and here we have a sparkle. You know, so it's beginning to talk to ourselves. Sparkle, array, soft yellow, the flash of white, more yellow, glare, sheen, and to identify in our own way what we see, so that when we get to work, we have a storehouse of phenomena. Lighting phenomena. We have a feeling, a sense of what that is. Even as I look at you, I have a feeling of the modeling of your faces and this yellow that is becoming actually so normal that you look healthy now. You know, whereas a minute ago you look very sallow. So these are the kinds of present, you know, observations that we want to create for ourselves. Everybody loves sparkle. Well, let me put it this way. I haven't met anyone who doesn't like sparkle. And I really feel like looking into the source is a very joyous thing that's very uplifting. Looking straight into sources.
Thank you. Everybody wave them